What's up, weirdos? Shadetree Surgeon here, and I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm feeling a little worse for wear right now. My knee is taking a little bit longer to heal up. If you missed that video, it should have come out on Wednesday. It's not really the joint pain, although my hamstring is bothering me. It's really just the road rash I got on my knee. Not a great place to heal road rash when it's moving constantly and I work on my feet for a living. Also feeling a little under the gun right now because the paint on the XS650 isn't going to be done till next week. So what that means is I'm essentially going to have one day to put it together. I'm going to have one day, and that's the Monday after I get back from AIM Expo. I will have one single day to put that bike together to get it ready for a 1,000 mile trip. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I'm certainly gonna try. As a backup plan, I am gonna try to get the FXR going. A couple videos ago, you'll know that I was fighting an intake leak on it, So I'm assuming there's still an intake leak. Maybe somebody who knows more about S&S carburetors and Evo engines will be able to tell me what's what in the comment section. All right, up here at the Ride Factory, interrupting my friend Brian's lunch very rudely as I am wont to do. And not only am I grabbing some gaskets for the Evo, but I also had to drop off some chopper parts for machining. So I'm still hoping I get to ride the chopper to Barber, but he's gonna take a little bit off of that one right there, and a little bit off of that one right there. That's the axle and the rear spacer. Brian, man of many talents. Now that I got those things dropped off with Brian, it's time to run to the other side of the shop and see Summer about, that pushes in, see Summer about some Evo parts. So I will tell you, we're very lucky to have a place like the Ride Factory here in Tampa, because when you need Evo parts, guess what? If you walk into a Harley Davidson dealership, they're gonna go obsolete. Do not make them anymore. They ain't too worried about it either. So you gotta come up and see the good folks at the Ride Factory. Summer will take care of you. She always takes care of me. So I'm seeing my man Shelby here because Brian's told me his secret trick to getting these intakes back on correctly is what he calls uckum puckum jizz. So Shelby's helped me out here a little bit, and I'm gonna try not to bugger this up. And if I do and I can't get it fixed, the next video will be me dropping the bike off here for real mechanics to diagnose it. Back from the Ride Factory, got the new intake gaskets. The real problem now is I've never done this before, but where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm gonna do what I always do when I've never done something before and I need to figure it out. I'm gonna watch a damn YouTube video. Funny enough, look at this. I look up how to change the intake gaskets on an Evo, and look who greets me on the TV. None other than Brian himself from the Ride Factory in a very, very old expertvillage.com video. You guys just saw him. You can say this was a little while ago. Well, first things first, let's get that carb out of there. I'm not actually pulling anything out yet. I'm just gonna loosen these up and leave them in because I want to take this stuff on the other side out before I actually pull these out. Alright, well this has got nuts behind it and I can't get a wrench in there, so I'm going to try to take the whole thing off. God, why is this is really dumb. The level of engineering that appears to have gone into this is truly astounding. Well, it's important to know when to admit defeat, and I am defeated in so much as this tank's gonna have to come off. I really didn't want to take it off, but messing around with this thing with the tank on there, all I'm doing is wasting time trying to pretend like it doesn't have to come off. I might be able to do what I need to do with the gas tank just propped up. The gas tank up out of the way, it'll actually make getting at these bolts to remove all the supports, which is, like I said, ridiculously over-engineered. It'll make getting at those a whole hell of a lot easier. In fact, I don't even think I could have really done it without lifting the gas tank up. Here, you guys, I'm not making stuff up when I say this is over-engineered. Just this support, to support this ignition here, this little thing, involves being mounted to both cylinder heads and the frame with an adjustable heim joint. I mean, that does not seem necessary. for this, which probably weighs like, you know, 6 ounces or something. I mean, come on. Holy mackerel. That seemed way, way harder than it needed to be. Now that I've got that out of the way, I can go ahead and take the two Allens off the back of the carb. Like I said, this is an S&S carb. If this was a CV carb, I would be doing things a little bit differently. Alright, cool. I can already see it loose on the other side, so I'm glad I left those bolts in, or else it'd be dropping on the ground right about now. So if you are taking this apart, part of what I learned from the videos is that there is a specific set of shims for either side on these heads, so you wanna make sure you don't lose those. Right, and I'm just gonna stick this right back in there. I feel like the best way to keep track of them is to put them back where I found them. Now that I got the carb off, I'm going to go ahead and take off the 4 bolts that hold on the intake manifold. Very, very carefully, mind you, because I don't want to strip these guys out. That would ruin my day. I'm going to tell you, there just doesn't seem to be a good way to get at this, unfortunately. It also did not feel very tight, so that's also, I'm going like, well, now I'm getting less and less surprised that this has an intake leak. That's not even attached to anything. It's got a screw in it. Okay. That's supposed to be attached to something? Ah, beats me, dude. There we go. Definitely looks like there's a little bit of moisture on it right here. I don't know what that could be, if it's a little bit of oil, because there's a lot of oil going on down there, but the fact that these are like that leads me like maybe they were leaking. You know, worst case scenario, I'm just replacing them, and it's not going to hurt anything to replace them, and then I'll know how. Alright, now that I've got it out, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of emery cloth here and really, really, really clean up these intake surfaces. Alright, so Brian told me the secret to doing this is to put a little bit of silicone on the gaskets. Of course, it's obviously got to be silicone that is doesn't swell rubber. So he gave me some of that. You saw Shelby give it to me there. And that's so you can move this around easily, because apparently these things are hard to line up. So you want to get everything on there before you tighten it down. You need to be able to move this intake manifold back and forth. Now, I'm not going to go wild with this shit. I'm just going to put a little tiny film on it. So I'm gonna start putting this back together, very much just leaving everything hand tight for right now. So I'm gonna try to do this, but I might have to run up to the Home Depot to get the special tool. It wants you to tighten those intake manifold bolts after the carb is on the bike. I just don't think I'm gonna be able to do that. I don't think I'm gonna be able to pull that off. Oh shit, that's not good. I needed those. Let's try that again. Again, like I showed you guys earlier, I'm just leaving everything hand tight, because the big thing with these is that you got to be able to slide it into the right spot once it's all mounted on there with no pressure on it. Alright, now I should be able to start tightening up this intake manifold. The problem being is that I don't know how I'm going to get to the bolts on the other side. Even amount of tightening these is going to be the name of the game. Let me show you guys what I ended up doing in case anybody runs into the same problem. So in order to tighten this one over here, because there's a little vacuum line that comes off the top and you can't get a ball end in there, I actually had to cut a regular Allen one and then go in from this side to tighten it. And the other one, luckily, I can actually get a ball end on that. So that took a little bit of doing. Sometimes when you're putting stuff back together, it pays to take some pictures. Alright, I was super careful putting that intake back on, got the Harley completely back together, turned the key, fired her up, and it ran worse than it did before. I don't know how many of you guys out there have ever spent your whole goddamn day beating your head against the wall, trying to fix something, and then it's worse than when you started out. Not the most pleasant feeling in the world. So I actually thought I was going to have to take it up to Brian to have him fixed, but when I told him what happened, he said, you know what kind of flanges are on that intake? When I described the flanges to him, he said, you know what? It's an S&S intake, but it has stock Harley flanges, which means if you use S&S gaskets, it won't work. You have to use stock Harley gaskets. try again. So Brian's so fucking awesome. How many people out there who are a mechanic for a living just gives you some free advice and says, hey, you know what? Give that thing another shot. Try to fix it. So I've got the stock gaskets. I'm going to give it a whirl. Not super looking forward to ripping this thing all apart again, but hey, there you go. Sometimes when you're stupid, you got to do shit twice. I'd find a use for that half helmet. Alright, let's try this again with the right gaskets. Let's finish bolting it up and cross our fingers. And by the way, I did go ahead and grab a new filter. I mean, this is technically washable, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's junk. Moment of truth. Alright guys, that's about where I'm going to end this vlog. As you see, I did get the motorcycle running, but unfortunately I'm still experiencing a weird idle. It runs fine until you get the bike hot, and then it will sometimes experience a little bit of a hanging idle and a little bit of a high idle. Discretion being the better part of valor. I know that the intake seals aren't leaking, and I know it's something in the carburetor, and basically I know when to admit defeat, and I did bring the bike up to Brian to completely diagnose the problem. I am not a motorcycle mechanic. I do the best I can, and when I can try to do something, I can try to learn something new, I do. I also know when it's time to admit defeat and say, hey, I could dick around with this thing for another 3 months and not figure out what's wrong with it. I'm going to take it up to my buddy Brian at the Ride Factory, who's probably going to be able to fix it in 15 minutes. Now, when I share stuff like that, it's not because I want it to be discouraging to people who do work on their own bikes and maybe are looking at me and saying like, hey, well, Shadetree works on his own bike, I want to do it too. And I don't want to discourage you guys from working on your own motorcycles. Please, to try it out. I also share when I run up against a wall and I have to go get professional help because I'm not a professional. I'm poking around in the dark here, and I want to share that, and I want to tell you guys like, hey, I ran up against a wall. I couldn't figure it out, so I had to take it to somebody who actually knows what they're doing. And that goes for anybody. So I'll see you guys in the next vid. I'll be sure to share exactly what was wrong with the bike, and I'm still counting this one as a win because now I know how to successfully change the intake seals on an Evo motor, which as far as I know and everything I've read is actually kind of difficult to do. So whatever, man, even though I couldn't figure out exactly what was wrong with the carburetor, I'm glad I know how to do that now. Till next time, y'all, keep it weird.